Hello, and welcome back to Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, coming at you from the 205. No, coming at you from the 256. That's David. He's coming at you from the 205. And today is college football pick'em.
Hey, before we get started, I just want to let you know I got your check in the mail, and the bank wouldn't take it, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, somebody tricked you because I didn't send you no check.
Okay.
But anyway, last week you went 9-2, and I went 8-3. So your total for the year is 68-38, and I'm 64-42 now. So we're still within 4 games of each other, but
you ain't gonna catch me now.
We got 2 weeks left in the regular season. Well, and then we got the championship weekend. So, but anyway, week 12. Let's go ahead and get to the games. The first game I have on the list here is number 10 Ohio State at Maryland, 11 a.m. Central on ABC. Ohio State is minus 14.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ohio State on this. Since the Terrapins joined the Big Ten, Maryland Ohio State has beat them 4 straight times, and I see that Maryland. Not only that, they're just not very good in November. They have a 2-9 record in the last 11 home games in the month of November. So all the odds go to Ohio State, and I see this being a big win for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, Maryland, they again jumped up and grabbed Texas and beat them to start the year again, but they're sitting at 5-5. They've had such an up and down season, and of course all the stuff surrounding their coaching staff and everything that's been going on there. And Ohio State's just a better team. We can just go ahead and say that outright. But yeah, the Buckeyes, I'm with you there. Buckeyes win rather easily tomorrow morning. Game 2 here, you got number 22 Northwestern at Minnesota, 11 a.m. Kickoff there as well on the Big Ten Network. Minnesota is a 2-point favorite at home, -2 at home over number 22 Northwestern.
If it wasn't for the week of terrible games, I would have given you a lot of grief about that. This one who cares? Mm-hmm. But it is a terrible week of games, so I can understand why this one made the list. But I'm going to go with Northwestern on this game. They got a little bit better record, and I think they're playing just a little bit better ball than Minnesota is.
Yeah, well, it's a ranked team, and they're a dog on the road. So, and the funny thing about Northwestern, their overall record is 6-4, but they're 6-1 in conference play, in Big Ten play. All 3 of their other losses came out of conference. So. Which is crazy to think, but Northwestern, they're on the fast track to represent the West, the Big Ten West there in the Big Ten championship game. So, but Northwestern, I'm with you there. Minnesota, I guess because they're the home team, they're favorite. I don't know, but Northwestern, they're 6-1 in conference. I think they'll be 7-1 after tomorrow. Game 3, this is another game you'd probably give me grief about, but number 19 Utah at Colorado. 12:30 p.m. kickoff. Pac-12 Network is the channel. Utah's -7 on the road at Colorado.
I've got to go with Utah on this just for the fact that Colorado's pass defense has been terrible, and I just see Utah being able to move the ball on them through the air. 7. I think that's a pretty good line. So I'm gonna go with Utah on this.
Colorado, since starting 5-0, has lost 5 in a row. That pretty much tells the tale. Once they hit a little bit stiffer competition in conference play, it was over and done with for them. Utah, they've shown that they can be a good team at times. They've shown that they can lay a goose egg at times. But Utah's just a better football team, and I think Utah 7-10 points, something like that on the road at Colorado. We saw what Washington State did last week on the road at Colorado. But Utah, I'm with the Utes. Just like you, I'm taking the Utah Utes to win that game.
And, there's some off-the-field stuff going on with Colorado, too.
Yeah, they've already said they're firing their coach or something like that.
Yeah, so that's going to take its toll.
Yeah, but yeah, Utah, take them as well. Game 4, in my opinion, this is the game of the weekend. You got number 12 Syracuse versus, it's a neutral site game, versus Notre Dame, number 3 Notre Dame. 1:30 p.m. kickoff on NBC at Yankee Stadium. The game's going to be at Yankee Stadium. Minus 10.5 is Notre Dame.
It is going to be probably the best game of the day. Syracuse, one of the things that they've really got going for them, they're number one nationally in special teams. And so, that could be something that they use as a definite advantage on Saturday. But, I'm still going to go with the luck of the Irish. I think that Notre Dame pulls it out in the end.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, though. Syracuse, a lot of people were like, oh, Syracuse, man, Clemson, what's wrong with them playing a close game? Well, that obviously wasn't a fluke. Syracuse is a good football team. They've been running up the scores and doing what they had to do to win football games. I think it's going to be close, but you just can't pick against Notre Dame right now. It's their last chance to lose the game. Syracuse could cause a lot of shakeup if they could pull this out, which I think they have a chance. They're a good football team, but Notre Dame in the end, I think they just edge out the orange and stay undefeated. Game 5 here, you got number 9 West Virginia at Oklahoma State, 2:30 p.m. on ABC. West Virginia is minus 4.5 at Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State's one of those teams that, if they were to come out and beat West Virginia, I don't know that you'd be too terribly surprised because they play lights out one time and the next time it's like they hadn't even seen football. So they're just a strange team. They've been that way for a long time. But I'm going to go with West Virginia. I think West Virginia is really playing some of their best ball that I can remember them playing in a long, long time. So I'm going to go with them. And probably I would say, maybe even 14 points.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, they beat Texas. They were within 1 point of Oklahoma. That was last weekend, wasn't it? Yeah. They're playing good ball, but West Virginia's playing better ball. And I still think West Virginia and Oklahoma are on a crash course to play 2 weeks in a row. And I don't see West Virginia slipping up tomorrow afternoon against Oklahoma State. I think it's another Big 12 shootout like we always see. But West Virginia, I think they get them by, like you said, 14. I'll say 10-14, somewhere in there. I think they put it away later in the game and run up Will Greer's Heisman numbers. But I'll go West Virginia too. Game 6, you got number 20 Boston College on the road at Florida State. 2:30 p.m. ESPN2. Boston College is only minus 1.5. They're a 1.5 point favorite on the road in Tallahassee.
Well, I said a couple of weeks ago that I wasn't going to pick Florida State anymore this year, and I'm going to stick to it. They have just looked awful this year, and I think that train is way off the tracks. And I just, it's to the point with Florida State that I don't see the will to win from that team anymore. I think they're just waiting for the season to be over with. So I see Boston College winning this game.
Yeah, I think Florida State's lost 4 in a row now. I believe it is. They're sitting at 4-6. This will knock them out of bowl eligibility, and I think that's ultimately what happens. Boston College, they've won some games that they normally wouldn't win. Obviously, they lost last week to Clemson, but they're ranked. They're a good football team this year, better than Florida State, which you could say that about anybody in the ACC at this point. And I'm going Boston College as well. BC, they get the job done in 1.5. That's a little low for me. Touchdown, 10 points, probably even more than that against Florida State at this point. But I'm taking Boston College as well. Game 7, this is where game day is this weekend. So, of course, the ESPN's hyping it up for the ABC night matchup. You got number 24 Cincinnati at number 11 UCF, 7 o'clock Central Time on ABC. UCF, I had to search for the line, but it was minus 7.5 was the last one that I saw. So UCF is minus 7.5 at home over Cincinnati favorite.
Well, I'm going to tell you, personally, I'm going to be pulling big time for the Bearcats of Cincinnati. I'd really like to see them maybe
shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, UCF a little bit. But I think it's going to be another one of those games that you're sitting there going, oh, this is going to be the time UCF loses. They're fixing to lose. They're fixing to lose. And then they pull it out right at the end.
Yeah. If it was at Cincinnati, I would definitely pick the Bearcats because it would be prime time for them to just jump on them and just have a party. But UCF at home, they are a better football team in my opinion, and just them playing at home is the biggest factor here. Besides them just being better, but playing at home, I think they get it done against the Bearcats as well.
It would be kind of funny if they did lose, as much as they've been wanting game day to come down and give them the respect and everything like that. But
well, they're here, so do it.
Yeah, but I'm with you. UCF, I think, in a close one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be close. It'll be decently close, but they'll put it away at some point later in the game. But like I said, on the road, I think it would be a different monster. But they got game day, and the committee has pretty much spoken on UCF at this point. They might not even crack the top 10 until after the season's over, at the end. But yeah, UCF at home, 7.5, 7 to 10 points, something like that. I'll take the Golden Knights, Central Florida. Game 8 here, another very quiet top 20 matchup. I hadn't heard anything about this game at all this week, but you got number 16 Iowa State at number 15 Texas, 7 o'clock, and it's on the Longhorn Network. I don't see how somebody doesn't have this game, but it's on the Longhorn Network, and Texas is minus 2.5.
Well, I've got your answer to that. This game was so lightly considered at the beginning of the season.
It was automatically scheduled.
That ESPN regulated it to the Longhorn Network at the beginning of the season. So that's how strange of a year we're dealing with here. That it's on the Longhorn Network. And Iowa State is just one of those teams. Which team's going to show up? Sometimes they look like world beaters, and sometimes they look like again, they're one of those teams that just doesn't look like. Sometimes they've seen the football, but it being at Texas, if it was at Iowa State, I would think differently. But it being at Texas, I think that I'm going to go with the Longhorns on this one.
Iowa State has showed up to play anybody who was anybody this year, except for Oklahoma. They lost to Oklahoma, and I believe they lost to Iowa again, like they always do. But when it comes to Big 12 play, they've seemed to show up and play everybody else besides Oklahoma this year. They're just quietly. Last year, at one point they were sitting at 8-5, I believe it was, or what they finished as. They had a chance to make the Big 12 championship game. Texas, they've been up and down. They've had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows to this point. But I think it's going to be another low for the Longhorns tomorrow. I'm going Cyclones to get the job done on the road at Texas, just for the disrespect of being on the Longhorn Network. I'm just kidding. But I'm going. I do think the Cyclones. I think they'll get the job done at Texas tomorrow. They just play good football against the better teams. It seems like when they need to here as the last few years. But I'll go Cyclones to beat the Longhorns. And then game 9, we only got 9 games this week. The last game for this week, you got Arizona, who has really turned around the ship after it looked like they had never seen a football in their life. At number 8, Washington State, 9:30 p.m. on ESPN. Washington State is minus 10.5 at home over the Wildcats.
Well, since this is YouTube and there's no really FCC type thing, you did say ship, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I wasn't sure what we were turning around, but anyway. I don't know. I've looked at this one and I'm still going to go with Washington State on this one. They just are playing pretty good ball right now. They're number 8 in the country, and it is at home. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Cougars.
Yeah, Arizona, they've righted the ship from where they were at the start of the season. At the start of the season, they were it was bad. It's like they never even played football before in their life. But now they're They're back to just over at 500, just over 500. They're at 4-3 in Pac-12 play. But Washington State, they're head and shoulders the class of the Pac-12 this year. That quarterback is ridiculous with his mustache and his arm, which he was a grad transfer from ECU that was committed to Alabama at one point, and then at the last second decided to go somewhere else and play, and it's worked out for him obviously. But
right.
Washington State, they've much like UCF, they're at their peak. They're not moving unless somebody loses, and even if somebody ahead of them loses, they might not drop below Washington State at this point. But I like the Cougars at home to get the job done over the Wildcats. Almost called them the Bearcats, over Arizona. And they just keep moving along.
Well, which Washington State's quarterback is that name? Gardner Minshew the second.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
Yeah, a guy with that name needs a mustache like that.
Yeah, he's got quite the name too. Yeah, and the mustache.
Yes.
But that is all 9 games for this week. I can only make up room. I can only make ground on you in one game because we picked the same this week except for that Iowa State game. So, but that is all the picks for this week. Let us know what you're thinking for this weekend down in the comments below. Leave a like, share the content, and subscribe to the channel so you can see David and I talk every Friday at this point. Well, it's almost into the season, but you can watch us make our picks and tell us how wrong we are. Our praises. So
yeah, I'm a little disappointed because no Alabama Citadel. I was going to pick the Citadel.
You're going to pick a 60-point dog on the road in Tuscaloosa? Yeah, I know. You don't even need to talk about that game. That's foregone conclusion at this point. But yeah, that is it. But this has been Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar. That is David Mize, and we look forward to seeing you guys for rivalry weekend next weekend.
Roll Tide, everybody.